Sims, let's go.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're watching the GSL Talk Show. Tonight, we're talking to an amazing artist, Mr. Michael Magrush. So stay tuned.
Yeah, it's a miracle, baby. Shot chill, Miracle Sims, let's go.
Welcome back to the GSL Talk Show. I'm here with Mr. Michael Magrush. Magrush? I must get it right one day. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Good to see you, Miracle. What a pleasure to see a happy, funny, loving face. I like it.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes. Great to have you here as well. Welcome to the GSL Talk Show. We had a little bit of time to kind of chit chat before, and so I learned that you are in Laguna Beach, so that's really cool. But what else can you share about yourself with us today?
Okay, I was born in Vienna, Austria,
Mm,
so my language was in English, and I was a sick child, and they helped me back, and when I was 7, put me in school, and I was totally lost. I was neurodiverse, and that 40 years ago they said, "Oh, you have dyslexia." But that was it. You still have to talk in front of class. You still have to do all the tests. Nobody cared that I had that. I mean, they just said, "Okay, we laugh at you because you you can't read. You stutter around." And you know how that's hard. At that time when you become a human, and then
mm,
you know, I flunked classes. I just couldn't understand it. I couldn't I couldn't regurgitate it. I was
mm,
always smart, but I couldn't regurgitate what they're saying. Tell me what is this, and speak it right, and do it right. And I couldn't do that. And so uh, I repeated grades. In Europe, you have to repeat grades till I couldn't.
mm,
So I did like 2 or 3 times, and I was like the 12-year-old in with all 10 years old. And you know how that is. That's another beautiful shame and guilting. Uh, and nobody's fault because it's the system that's set up like that. And I
mm,
had to learn to be outside. I had to learn to connect with humans because humans were my savior, and art creation and humans, and the most generous people you meet in the arts, because everybody, it's not about what race, your gender, or what abilities you have. We got to
mm,
create an artwork, we got to create music, we got to create a play. And therefore I was always feel that was my savior. It doesn't matter,
mm,
and then I loved music, and I started doing tapes. When I was young, the whole hip hop genre came. Actually before that, but then the hip hop genre, really catapulted me because I was DJing that nobody wanted to DJ. I loved it. I'm a percussionist, so I loved the rhythm. So
mm,
hip hop was the really important for me. And any
mm,
rhythm, like before hip hop was reggae, that strong reggae influence, and that was also rhythm related. So I had to rely on my feelings and what made me survive. So I
mm,
made tapes, shelled them out of my trunk. I was a DJ. I created fashion shows. I I was in advertising, and at 30, I looked at my resume and said, "Damn, what is this? I'm an artist," because I couldn't do it. I couldn't be, and it wasn't. Usually you create something, and then the society, the system tells you, "Oh, miracle, you're an artist because you're a great song, you're the great poem."
mhm,
But if you don't believe it, and a lot of artists don't believe that they're artists, because
mm,
you got to know it yourself. And I think that was a pivotal point for me, that I
mm,
made that choice. I said I could, like, that logic. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't say I'm a accountant. I couldn't account. Yeah. So
Mm,
that helped. That helped a lot. That made that choice, and not waiting for somebody to say, "Oh, you make a great painting. Oh, you're an artist." Yeah. So
mhm,
it helped me literally. That choice, making the choice, helped me being an arts commissioner uh, of Newport Beach, working with
mm,
Robert Evans, who did The Godfather and Chinatown, and I lived in his house and produced with him.
mm,
Uh, but it had nothing to do with my education. See, art doesn't need an education, so I was good. They see this guy knows he can, and I mean, Robert Evans let me score things. He
mm,
literally let me score something of the what we created, and I've never
mhm,
scored before. I said, okay, what would you do? We have that glitch, and then I said, oh, let's do this, bam, 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 and we did. So this is this, and it is again, the human helps the other human. He didn't have to
mm,
talk to me. He didn't have to do anything, but he
mm,
he helped me, and an Austrian guy that I feel like Schwarzenegger. I I didn't I didn't have any education. My English wasn't well. It's still not really good, but it's good enough. And so I lived my life in the arts and outside of the system, and I still don't fit in the system. I really don't. Yeah, but
mm,
I connect with humans, and podcasting is, for example, a great thing to meet all the humans and to talk to them and to create value. And I now work on distributing. I work on an art project distributing human rights to every human person. We have human
mm,
rights, birthrights. We have
mm,
birthrights. So I'm starting with that. I have started already with that, but this is a global project that every human should have the right. Because what happens? Because this is what I didn't learn. You, when you go to school, you don't learn what it is to be a human. You now know what it is to be a human because you had
mm,
experiences. I have learned what it is because I'm older, but why don't we learn in the first grade what it is to be a human first before we put them into the systems, systemize them? Oh, you should be a doctor, you should be a fireman, you should be this. Yeah.
mm,
And I work on an educational system also on that, to bring, to learn what it is to be human, that we are a social animal, that it's not about race and gender and whatever, that's all, we're all in this together, and we are part of
mm,
nature. We're not a part of it. We create the systems. We are creators. We created New York, Singapore, Google, Apple, all these companies. But how we did it is collaborative creating. We work together, you know, uh, and we built whatever we have, all the systems that we now so revere and said that's the best. And we
mm,
forget we are part of nature or God or whatever you want to believe. We're forgetting that, and that's
mm,
why we have wars, and that's why because we can't express ourselves. We need to express ourselves. There is no such thing as lazy in nature. See, lazy is a system problem where people just give up. They say, I cannot. I mean, how often I tell you, there were so many times I was thinking, what is the point? What is the point in this? I can
mm,
never get out of it. It's like, I cannot make myself not neurodiverse. I'm neurodiverse. And I mean, I wrote 6 books and I have the computer read them to me. I can't
mm.
read my books that I wrote.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I have the computer read it to me. And
Mm,
I can read, but I would lose the context. I couldn't read, I couldn't read a paragraph, but if it's long, I'm go all over. So,
wow.
so adversity is a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Mm,
Adversity, when you lean into it, embrace it. Okay, that's my shit. Boom, lean into it. And that's
mm,
what life is. And yeah, I see that now. I wouldn't have seen that. And that's why I say it's so important that we teach young kids that. I always say, when you take 3 little kittens and put them in the box, in a shoebox, they love it. They cuddle, they kiss each other and all. but after a day, they want to get out. And you have to express yourself because we're always growing. Everybody on this planet always grows. You sit in prison, you grow. You sit wherever, you grow. And that's we need to see it. And that's what's adversity. That's the stuff that doesn't feel good. But when you lean against it, because you're growing, it doesn't feel good. A butterfly, when a caterpillar, it doesn't feel good either to push it out there. It doesn't feel good. I don't believe that it feels great when you get out of your pupa, become a butterfly. That feels good. He doesn't even know what it means probably when to spread his wings. And I think we retreat because the system says, don't speak up, don't express yourself. And then we have wars. See, if art was used, that people and wouldn't be art, wouldn't be a product, but it would be, this is what we do. We play music together, we create together, that everybody can express themselves. We don't need to fight wars. You know it.
Wow. I mean, well, as a fellow artiste, I believe, I think I have an artist heart at least, I definitely have a lot of respect for artists, of any kind, really. But it sounds like to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you're saying that, most of your gifting is in music, or do you have some other niches as well?
Any art.
Okay.
I have literally pushed paint for like 2 years. When COVID came, I stopped pushing paint, not because it just, you had to be inside, you couldn't go outside, you couldn't, it was just, you couldn't go buy paints. I mean, this is like literally was so thing. So, and I wrote books. So I expressed myself. As long as you express yourself, it doesn't matter. And as an artist, that we are multimedia artists, because you might be an artist and now you express yourself with a podcast, you express yourself. You need to express yourself. If you don't express yourself, you are going to be violent, rage, war. This is it. That's why art creation, and people don't understand, oh, it's a hobby. Oh, it's not a job. Yeah, because everybody has that muscle, and we could use that muscle to express ourselves. How great would it be with all the destruction that if they would dump paints and for everyone, and we would express and make our neighborhoods artistic. There's project, Detroit is beautiful. Artists always, that's what artists do. They have no money. They go in abandoned parts of the city. Chelsea, for example, was the same thing. And they make something out of it. And then the rich people come and they said, oh, I want to live here because it's colorful. It's great. There's a soul there. I don't want to live in a concrete new super building. And they're looking for that. And then they take over and the rent's price and the artists go to the next one. We're nomads. We keep going. That's also a natural human thing. So artists don't suffer from that, but artists suffer from that their value is systemically deemed as not enough. And really, and it's not embraced because they say, oh, look, we don't need this art. We have enough artwork. It's not about the artwork. It's about the doing. It's about the creating. This is what I have a 30-second podcast, The Smart of Art, because I couldn't do it, with my brain. And it's just a quote and a question. And for all the artists that listening to you, even you, it's all my quotes, and it's all observation, what art does, the creation, it's never about the product. It's not about, Picasso said or anything. It's just, I say, this is my thing, and I'm doing art since I was 5 years old, all kinds, music, everything.
But that's really cool that you were able to find, that thing so you can be able to express yourself, like you said, because again, when you were dealing with the different things in regards to communication and then obviously, I guess the reading and things of that nature. You could tell us, like, how difficult was that for you to communicate until you found art? Like that time between where you didn't know or whatever the case is? Like, was it
So
really
till
super
30,
hard, or I'm
till
sorry?
30, till 30. Yeah, till 30.
Oh,
I
wow.
said that I'm an artist. I was
Mm,
using art since 5
mhm. Okay,
to keep me alive. To what,
right.
I think, oh, should I end it? And then I hear a song, you know, then I hear the Rolling Stones, "Give Me Shelter," and I'm just shipping on. Then later I listen
Mm,
to Marvin Gaye, and it just aligns you. There's nothing.
mm,
It's not about Marvin Gaye. It's not about the Rolling Stones. It's about their expression. We connect with their expression, and it
mhm,
makes us feel okay. There's somebody else that feels that way. There's somebody
mhm,
else that has that rhythm. That is
mhm,
somebody else. How? And it's coming from outside, but it's a reflection from inside. And that's so made me survive. And then
mm,
and then at 30, and it made me survive suffering. Till 30, I really suffered because I tried what every artist does: be respected, get the accolades, get attraction. But
mm,
that's not what art asks you. Art asks you only to conceive it, to be inspired by it, and create it,
mm,
and then expose it. So if I'm doing a little scratching on a piece of paper and I show it
mm,
to you, that's it. On the art side, the other thing is
mhm,
business. Business is another thing. That's another. The other thing is getting attention, making money. That has nothing
mm,
to do with the process of art. Nothing. Art doesn't
mm,
have either. Oh my God. Miles Davis said, this is why this human is so important. He said, there's no
mm,
wrong note. Herbie Hancock did a wrong key, a wrong thing on the keys, and he was so embarrassed because he played with Miles Davis, and he was still nothing. Yeah, and he said, "Oh my God," and apologized, and Miles just picked it up and said, "There's no wrong note. We are
mhm,
not perfect," and he integrated the mistake. In nature, there's no mistakes. There is no
mm,
faults, no mistakes, no failure. That's all system
mm,
generated. The systems doesn't need
mm.
failure because it's more efficient if you don't make mistakes.
Mm.
There's no
That's
mistakes.
interesting. Hmm. I mean, that's good. Yeah, honestly, that's a lot as well that I think people should understand. Because I think a lot of us are going through, and we feel like we are a mistake or whatever the case may be. But obviously, you being created the way you are and things and living life the way you have has gotten you to where you are. And so, that to me that speaks volume. This there are no mistakes quote. I like that. So, I mean, there's so many different things to ask. Because on one hand, I'm kind of curious to like what was that first little spark of inspiration to get you into art, and then I'm also curious of how you ended up in the States and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So my first inspiration was I was always tinkering around. Like I had to tinker around with stuff.
mm,
So when I was a little kid, we had a forest, behind the house. There was a forest, and there was a slab, and I don't know, that was weird. It's an old slab of concrete, and I
mm,
didn't know what the hell is this. And I said, and I was just, we were playing at that slab. All the kids were hanging out on that slab, and
mm,
I was thinking, oh, what do we do with this slab? Yeah, and then we just. Our inspiration, we were talking to each other. What could we do? We have a slab in the middle of the forest. We have a concrete slab in the middle of the forest. What can we do? Not big. It was like 10 feet by 10 feet or something, Uh, uh,
mm,
no, it was more. It was about 5 yards by 5 yards. And then we dug it out. And then we found out from somebody it's an old bowling alley. It was an outside bowling thing. And then we
oh,
started. Yeah. And then in the middle of the forest, I don't know where the hell. So we built a house. We built a hut, like a tree hut, but we did build it
mm,
on that slab. We had a slab, and
nice.
so and it was so much fun. And then, and I didn't know then that I was a painter, and I wanted to do. I said I couldn't wait to paint that slab. I mean, it was, you know, um, and that we had adults that basically put uh, poles in there and nailed some wood on it, but
Mhm.
we cut out the windows and whatever, and then we insulated it. It was not with a plastic foil or whatever, like, and that was
Mhm.
so much fun because we were like five boys and a girl,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
we just we just loved it. We brought our bicycles up there, and that was the inspiration. And then it was just going on
Mhm.
from there about the music, and it was always something. And I think it's funny because, Miracle, you asked me this question, but do you think that there's really any human that doesn't grow up, like that doesn't create? Today they're sitting in front of a screen. I know that's not the
Mhm.
same, but anybody in that's older before growing up in front of a screen, I think lived that life.
Mhm.
You go basketball playing, you go soccer playing, you do, you live that communal, that communal, and you learn how to be with other humans, how to
Mhm.
interact, and you are not always right, you're not always wrong, and,
Mhm.
and then and then it was very easy from them because once you have friendships, that's why I say humans are the most important thing to have, not friends
Mhm.
on Facebook. You really friends. And then we
Mhm.
the thing went on and say, what are you saying to this? And then somebody says, oh, I like this. And then you say, oh, let's do this. My mind goes all the time. And perhaps it's
Mhm.
my neurodiversity. So I never have a writer's block. I don't have that.
Mhm.
I was working. I was an hour off. I was working till 4 o'clock. I was writing. I have endless, endless creativity, uh,
Mhm.
and but I'm super open. I'm not conditioned, system conditioned. You're supposed to be
Mhm.
this. You're a man. You should be like a man. You should be this. You should be. I don't have that.
Mhm. Hey, I mean, that sounds really cool in regards to, your first introduction and whatnot. It definitely sounds like a lot of fun. I think a lot of kids, um, are missing out on that type of thing today. Like you mentioned
Yeah,
about being in front of the screens and whatnot. It reminded me of the Little Rascals movie or something,
exactly, exactly. Very,
you
very
know,
good. Very true. You were like that. Yeah, yeah. Very, very interesting.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm sure that was a lot of fun for you all to grow up in that way
Yeah,
and whatnot, and create that space of, I guess, fun and safe space and
yeah,
you know fellowship or whatever the case is. So,
yeah.
well, awesome. I mean, so that's good then. I mean, um, so that was those days, and now you're here in the States. So, what made that transition? Like, how did you
Okay.
transition over here from
So,
Austria?
so, so I say also for the kids with the screens, I say
Mm,
you have the same thing in the arts community. If you find
mm,
artists or people that you want to do a band or something with, it's the same thing. It's just that not in nature and in this lab and whatever, but
mm,
basically the artist community, uh, or you can create. Artists doesn't have they don't have any. There's no rules and regulation. You can just
mm,
be an artist. You say, I mean, you can say, hey, I'm ice skating. How can I do art out of that ice skating?
mm,
Because I want to you know whip it up a little. I want to make it better. So
mhm,
you can do the arts community does it. So what happened to the States was the school was such a trauma for me that I
mm,
went to. I always knew during the school, and it was funny. It was an inner knowing that I will be in America. It was an inner knowing. I knew it. I had no. Obviously, you watch Bewitched and you watch all these soap operas uh, that that make it look good, but America isn't what you see in soaps. When you
mm,
but for me it was more natural than I feel like a world citizen. I don't feel like an Austrian or American. I
mm,
like the ideal of America the best, and that's why I feel American more than everything, because I
mm,
like the idea that all the humans can come together, contribute. It doesn't matter where you come from. You contribute to this, and you're part of it. They don't care. Nobody cares if I'm Austrian or whatever. If I deliver, I'm in. If I don't deliver, I'm not in. And I think that idea, that idea, it is, and that's why. And then I went with them when I was 18 or 19. I went here and I did this travel around the States, from Massachusetts to California and stuff. And I hated LA. I never wanted to be in LA. And then I ended up here, on this side. I was all Boston. It was very European, all Boston, Philadelphia and stuff. But then I ended up here. And then when I went back from that first trip, I said, no, that's not enough. I need to work there. I that wasn't, you see it as a tourist, you got to be at work. And then I got a job and did. Today, it's hard to do, but 40 years ago was easy. It was relatively easy. It was all strict, but it was easier. And then I'm here and do the same thing, work on art and I couldn't be, a stockbroker or anything. I had no idea about that.
It sounds like it's very good that you have been able to sustain yourself as an artist, because I think a lot of people, when they hear art, you always hear the phrase starving artists and things of that nature. And you even talked about earlier about
it is starving. It is starving. It's starving. I was 3 times on almost homeless. It is starving. I mean, let's not make it. That's why I wrote the last book, The Smart of Art. I wrote because I said I got to figure out everywhere I go in the world. Artists are in poverty. It doesn't matter. It's Europe or here, India. Artists are always in poverty. And then I found out that I see all these statistics. 1 or 2% of artists are living well. 1 or 2%. And that it's funny. The same thing is in podcasting. 1% makes 98% of revenues in podcast. The same is with viral video. 1%, because the systems are promoting to you. Look at Joe Rogan. Look at the people that made it. And Joe Rogan admits, I didn't know. I just did my thing, and time and everything was perfect. And I know it from me. It doesn't matter if you get a front of the cover or an exhibition on an international airport. I have had all that. Not a single call or anybody wanted me. I did interviews having the cover of a magazine of the highest circulation. Nobody had because people pretend they like art, but because it's not about the product. See, people, do you know that today when you make it, that as a visual artist, that your life expectancy that you in the system, I think it's 5 to 6 months. You're the hottest thing, and then boom, the next one. I mean, it's harder to break through. I mean, look, the last thing you hear is Taylor Swift. That's about success. Which one broke through? Kanye, Jay-Z. Which one breaks through? Drake. I mean, what? They're so. It's weird. It's very hard to be successful. And in addition, when you look, and we're talking poverty, how hard, you're in this business, how hard it is to make 1 million downloads. 1 million downloads. That is very hard to do for one song. You know how much you get? $4,000. 1 million downloads. And that means basically you sacrifice yourself completely. You focus only on that. And if the time and space, everything is falling into space, you get a million downloads, and then you get $4,000. Tell me this: why people do illegal stuff? Because there's no way. That's why that drives people to do illegal stuff. They said, I can make it as an actor or whatever. you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we are poor because people see only, they see you. Nobody cares that you're an artist. They care about the product. If the product that you make gets attention, everybody, you cannot even get people away from you. You have so much thing. But you're treated like a commodity, and that's the problem. Art isn't, it's not about, we need artists. Can you imagine this world without art? Art is a survival mechanism. If you would turn off art tomorrow, it would be the death of so many people. So many adolescents and youngest would kill themselves. And then that's it. What are they doing in currently with the war? What are they doing with everything they say? You know, it's not worth anything. We don't get paid. But the first thing is when they, Syria and all these countries, the first thing is to do, destroy the art. Then they're not killing people. Destroy the art first and then kill people. They did this in Ukraine. They did everywhere. Look, it was an art festival. It was an art festival where this happened. A music festival. They slaughtered music people that go to a peaceful. They're not going in a military thing. And I'm sorry, I didn't want to talk about this, but this is just, it's just too heavy. You know, I feel it. I mean, don't you feel it? You feel it, right? There's no, we are all in this together. That's what I keep saying. You cannot say, oh, it happened over there, and no, far away, and we all feel it because it's a loss to the humanity to do things like that.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely, you know, sad things going on. And I mean, I think Americans, or myself, I guess included, or whatever, we do feel, I guess, far removed. But I think for me, as somebody that reads the Bible and things of that nature, I'm just like, well, it don't look good across the board for none of us. But the thing is, there is like you said, we are connected. And so just because it's happening over there right now doesn't mean that it can't happen over here. And, you know, and so let us not be so naive to think that some things can't happen on our own turf or homes or whatever the case may be. And so
we know that. We know that every day. You live in the hood, you know that, right? You live in the hood, you know it can happen. Not even in the hood. You don't have to live in it. You can live in the richest thing. Stuff can happen. But it's I take it even further than you. I say, even if it never hits us, if you put all the rich people on an island and the rest of the humanity is suffering, you cannot separate yourself from the feeling. Even if you don't know, if I make a wall and I put all these rich people with everything they need on an island, they feel how the rest of the world feels. We have 40% of humans that working humans, 40% have to live with $6 a day. And everybody talks, and you know it, everybody talks about millions and billions, right? You know how much money do you need to go in the top 1% of Americans? $440,000. With $440,000, you're in the top 1%. There's no cash. The cash is all on the wrong side. When you want to be in the number one worldwide, you need $33,000, $32,000 to be on the first 1%. There is no cash. There is more than enough for everyone, but it's in the it's because the financial principles are off, because you get punished when it's not enough. You don't have enough money, you get punished. You go bankrupt. You go to jail, right? And you get cut off. But if you are saving your money, if you are not spending enough, because there's nothing you cannot invest. Most people don't have the money to invest. You have to have a lot of savings to invest. So you just being good, don't make that, just do enough. You don't get rewarded. You have consequences if you don't have money and pay people, but you have no consequences if you are enough, just enough. Because people, we are good enough. We don't need to buy the Mercedes, the newest Mercedes. We are okay having a Toyota or a BMW. We don't need the newest stuff. And some people need it. But there's a lot of people, the most people are fine. I have a car to get to work. I have this. I just want to hang out with my family, raise my kids, have fun. have a barbecue, have joy. That's all.
Mhm.
That's all I need.
Mhm.
Life
Right.
isn't need to be super. Sex. Your podcast sex. It doesn't need to be. Sex need to be fantastic. What's about normal sex? I always like it has to be fantastic sex. It's a mind blowing sex. What's about normal sex? What's about regular sex? Just having sex. Why do you have to have insane sex? The expectations are so crazy that you're not going to have sex because if it's not going to be crazy, I can't have sex. I don't even know how to do it. Crazy. So,
Mhm.
so what do I have to do? It's just systemic pressure on things. I mean,
Mhm.
men have erectile dysfunction because they have so much pressure on them. And you know
Mhm.
what guys ask you? Did I do it right? Did I do it right? Nah. That's the last thing a woman wants to hear. But they are so sensitive. Men are more sensitive, so they want to see that they're worthy.
Mm.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I've been hearing that lately about like that men love harder and things of that nature. Like obviously we know that they keep a lot of their emotions and whatnot inside, um, and whatnot as well. I guess basically because of the systems and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so, so shout out to the men, shout out to y'all men,
Yeah.
man. Thank you to the ones that are great men and moving forward in life and being great husbands or fathers and all
Community.
that. So,
Talk. Be vulnerable. If you're too sensitive, be vulnerable and talk. You know,
mhm.
that's the best thing. And also that turns you on because when you have an intimacy with somebody, it's turning on. Not when I say, "Oh, how are you? Take your clothes off. Let's do." That's not going to work.
Right.
It's about
Right.
dancing. It's about dancing. You got to dance.
Mhm. I agree. I agree. So you were saying that you are the author of, and I don't want to get the number wrong. I believe you said 6 books.
I,
Was
did-
that correct?
I wrote 7, but I have published 5, and the 6 is going to come
Mhm.
out.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm speaking in advance then. I'm on.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to hear about, your books and whatnot if you would like to share some of them with us, like some of the
Yeah,
ideas.
I was the first one was a screenplay I wrote. The second one was I made 300 paintings in 3 days, and I photographed that. The fourth one was about people hanging and placing art wrong, really wrong, because you can experience that because I say they're always too high, and people are already so intimidated by art. And when they look up to art, it's even more intimidating, and you lose that. So when next time you hang up a painting or a sculpture, just have another friend of yours, and you push it down, and there is a point where there's a feeling you can walk into the painting. When you reach
Mhm.
that, you will be always connected and will not be intimidated, and it will make the painting so much better. So that's the gist of that book. And then, and I show you what the best is, the lighting and all that stuff. So it's basically how to place. The next one was in German about a lot of stuff that in my American book, Smarter for Art was the last one, and they were a separate art creation of the art product, how to understand. I want to give, and it's also connected with my podcast. I want to give artists power. I want to empower artists, and there's no more mentoring. You know that this in the old days it was like, "Hey, Miracle, you are an artist. Oh, how can I mentor you?" So I made this
Mhm.
30-second podcast so that you mentor yourself. How important it is that you are being an artist and creating art. It's not
Mhm.
about you, whatever comes out. That's secondary. And that's all
Mhm.
up to luck if the market is ready for you. I have reposted old artworks from me. I have more likes now than I had then because people weren't ready for it. And a lot of people are
Mhm.
not ready, Kanye
Mhm.
said that. He said, I did something a year ago, 10 years ago, and nobody liked it. Now everybody talks about it. They weren't ready for it.
Mhm.
You got to be in touch with nature, in touch with what's going on. And it's not it's not system relevant. It's that the system relevant happens when it happens, you know?
Mhm.
nobody knows, nobody knows.
Yeah, I mean, they say it's definitely something to timing and whatnot. I mean, I
Yeah.
see that recently. Those that follow me, they know I just released a movie that I wrote 11 years ago, and I was just so glad to just
You
see it
released a
out
movie.
finally.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, so
I
you
was in
know.
that business. So what is it? What is it? What did you do?
uh, Yeah. Well, it's a movie. It's called The Cast. The funny thing about it is that me and my friend, we played every character. So every man he played and every woman I played. And it wasn't the original vision for the story. I wanted to have a full cast and everything like that. It just everything just kind of pushed us in this direction to do it ourselves. And so we just kind of took it under our own wings, and he was with me, and we just kind of made this
I want
film
to see that.
happen. And I just felt like God just used the two of us to get it done.
I
And
think that's
we
more
finally
interesting than if you had that thing. I think that's more interesting than if you had the cast. Actually, I want to
yeah.
see it now. Now I want to see it because you said it. So
Well, hey man, check us out.
yeah,
I mean, it's thecastmovie.com. I mean, you can always go, but but
the
yeah, I
link.
mean,
Can you send me the link? When we're done,
yeah,
so just send me the link, and I want to watch it. And I'll give you feedback. Yeah.
sure.
No, I
Sounds
think
good,
it's
man.
way better. I think it's way. Whatever happens, you believe in God, right? It what happened is happened. I had this person say to me, "Yeah, it's about the money." I said, "No, it's good when you don't have money. You lean in and you be creative because that's the money.
Mhm.
That's your
Mm.
way. Oh, I can only if I have $1 million, I can make that movie. No, no, no. That's not what it is. The next movie, perhaps, or whatever. But this,
Yeah.
you do it in the moment, right? And it was a
Yes.
great fun. It was a great challenge. And it
Mm-hmm.
really showed way more than if you had all these actors, all this money. It would
Mm-hmm.
never learn that much like that. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and that's pretty much. I mean, yeah, it just piggybacks on everything you just said because, like I said, it wasn't the original vision, but I was glad that it took the time it did because by the time we got like the last final stretch, there's things I changed or tweaked or whatever that I didn't even think about even considering years ago. So I'm happy with the final product. I know it may not be, like you said, the multi-million-dollar blockbuster,
Yeah.
whatever. But my thing is, it was a vision 11 years ago. It's out today. I'm thankful for, you know what I mean? And I'm thankful for my friend who believed in the vision and did his part to help. And like I said, by the time it came out, I just really felt like, I don't know, again, it's back to Bible or whatever, but I feel like, well, the different verses talk about how he sent 2 by 2 and then if 2 or more are gathered in his name, he's in the mix. And that to me is just proof of all of that because it just was literally 2 of us. Shout out to the people that edited. We had some editors that, again, at the final stretch, we got editors involved, but for the most part, the entire creation was just me and him. And so, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to finally be here. And who knows what happened after this?
Yeah.
But
But you could have read that
that
in the
project will
Bible.
always be. I'm
You could
sorry.
have read that in the Bible. You could have read that in the Bible, right? But
Mm,
if you know it when you've done it, it's not, just to read something is nice. It's nice. You think about it, whatever. But 11 years after 11, you could have gotten that right away when you read in the Bible, right? I mean, if a written thing is it, but life has to be lived. It can't be read. You have
mm,
to live life. And when you live life, then you can say, now I know. No, now I don't have to say, oh, read the Bible. You
mm,
know it now. And knowing and inner knowing, you are aware. It's like I say, awareness trumps everything. When you can
mm,
read 5 books on never touching a hot stove. When you touch the
mm,
hot stove once, you don't need to read 5 books. You know it. You impersonate it. And you
mm,
never in your rest of your life go to a glowing stove. You just know this is hot. I burnt myself. And you don't have to burn yourself hard, but it's just,
mm,
this is it. And you could have written a whole Bible. It's like love. How many libraries are full of books about love? When you have not experienced love, you don't
mm,
know what the writing is about. When you have
mm.
experienced love and then go back and read it, then it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. It actually reminds me of this quote that my husband liked to say. He says, bought sense is better than borrowed sense. Now, on the flip side, my mom always raised us to learn from other people's mistakes. So I would be, observing other people in their life and knowing, okay, I don't want to go that route, or I'm seeing that this is happening to the next person. And yeah, everybody's experience can be different, but then there's some things that you don't necessarily have to experience, but I can see both sides being effective, like you just said. I mean, for those that need to touch, obviously they need to. For those that can learn ahead of time, then didn't do that. But yeah, man, like I said, I mean, it sounded good. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. I know you mentioned your podcast and everything like that. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that before you go?
It's 30 seconds. There's 200 episodes or something, and you just listen to it. And there's a question for you. It's not, then doesn't need to be answered. All the using instructional is when you go to it. It's called The Smart of Art, The Power of Art and Creativity. And when you just listen to it, and if you resonate, then you can if you want more, then you can get the book. But I would start with the free podcast because it's about us. It's about humanity. And it's not about, getting rich. I love money. I love money because I think it's the best invention of the fire and the wheel. But the way to make money with money, I think it's because what is money really meaning? It's meaning I created something and I want to exchange it with you, and I can't exchange it because you don't like what I created. I don't like what you created. But we have a tool that's called money. So if I sell it, I can buy whoever I wanted to buy, and you can buy all, and we don't have to exchange things that we don't need. So money is a great thing. But money with money is devaluing humanity because it's saying, I don't even need you. I just let the money work for itself. You see that? There's something we created money so that we don't have to, I have to buy a chicken. I have 10 chickens. Why wouldn't I buy another one? I have to exchange it just so that you get a hammer that you want from me. It just doesn't make sense. And that, and we also, so we need to get back to, we're part of nature and we have created systems and they are secondary. The kid is more important. The kid, when a mother, has to call the company because the kid is sick and they have to take care of the kid, they feel guilty. They should never feel guilty. The team should say in the system, don't worry, Miracle. We take care of your kid. We take care of your kid. You just take care of your kid, then you can actually help the kid to get healthy. But if you always thinking, I feel not good, I left the team alone, I did this, it's just, no, you got to be human-centric first. The kid is number one, and not forcing it. They were just, the world is perfect when we all help each other always out. Always. That's the key. We're all in this together. And we can't do it systemically, I need to help people. No. It's just when help is needed, you help. You give a helping hand.
Well, I mean, I guess let's pray for better days, man. I hope that we do start to tap into that because I agree that I feel like we're all connected and we don't realize just how connected we are until either somebody's gone or until you are in need and all that different type of stuff. But I mean, well, you're giving us a lot of things to think about today, and I don't want to be long your time. So I would love for you to share with us, where can we reach you and find out more about your books and your podcasts and things like that.
Yeah. I did this not to sell, but you just go to michaelm.com. So Michael with 2 L's, like Michael Jackson, Michael with 2 L's, at michaelm.com. And there you see my social, you can contact me, you see my LinkedIn and all this stuff. And if I can help, let me know. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for visiting us.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure for me.
Thank you so much for watching the GSL Talk Show, and thank you to Mr. Michael for joining us tonight. I hope that you all enjoyed this conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check out Mr. Michael and his podcast and books and the rest of his endeavors. Have a good night.